Do you fear negotiating your salary? I'm very creative and a great problem solver, which you just killed your job interview and got a job offer, but the pay isn't what you were expecting. You want to ask for more, but you're afraid of coming off as greedy, so you default to accepting what they've offered. So how exactly do you negotiate your salary? Have you ever negotiated your salary?
I have tried to, yes.
No, not ever.
No, I've never had a job that serious.
Absolutely. The first offer is never the best one.
I have not.
What do you think held you back from negotiating?
Felt like I was supposed to be grateful to be working there. You know what I mean?
We don't know that we can actually ask for more, maybe.
I feel like in my past, I was a little anxious to ask, but you have to ask the questions because, you never know what kind of answer you could get, and it really could be like the next best thing for you.
This is Your World on Money.
Salary. Take 3 marks.
Salary negotiation. Whether you're getting your first full-time job, getting promoted, or you're a freelancer looking to adjust your rates, many people fear negotiating their pay and choose not to do it. According to a Pew Research Center survey, 60% of most US workers who are not self-employed say they did not ask for a higher pay than what was initially offered the last time they were hired for a job. Among workers who did ask for higher pay, 28% say they were given the pay they asked for, 38% say they were given more than was originally offered but less than they had asked for, and 35% say they were only given what was first offered. I'm self-employed, so similar to freelancers, I would need to negotiate my rate, but if I'm being honest, it can be sometimes terrifying to revisit rates with clients. However, since the data shows that it doesn't hurt to ask, let's chat with an expert to figure out how to negotiate your salary. Brandon, it's a pleasure to have you here today. Could you kindly introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, my name is Brandon Bramley and I'm the founder of The Salary Negotiator.
On a very basic level, could you tell me what is a salary?
Salary is essentially your monetary take-home pay at the end of the year. It usually comes on a fixed basis that you see in every paycheck, and it's usually associated or is accompanied by benefits and perks from your company.
How does a salary differ from total compensation?
Total compensation is really the sum of all your monetary take-home earnings. This is truly how you calculate your total income, and it's also you compare your compensation across companies. As part of this, you can also look at benefits and perks that you should kind of compare when evaluating job offers or the company that you're working with.
Something I've seen a lot of my young friends struggle with, and I've urged them to be more brave, but I see a lot of young people struggle to ask for more. Why are so many people afraid to negotiate their salary?
Most people are afraid to negotiate their salary for a few reasons, which really stem from the interview process where they don't want to jeopardize the relationship. And I hear a ton of myths and fears out there that keep people from negotiating. This is usually at the top of everyone's worry is that if I negotiate, they're going to take the offer away and I lose the opportunity. And to be honest, that just doesn't happen. The company invested way too much in interviewing you and finding you for the role. If you spend a few extra days negotiating the role to make sure you're getting paid your worth, worst case scenario is you go through the negotiation process. They say no after all the techniques you take and you still accept the job, but there's never going to be a situation where they should withdraw the offer. In all reality, salary negotiation is very common and it's usually part of the interview process. So as long as you're using a professional tone, you're leaning on data to ask the right amount, you should never jeopardize the relationship. You shouldn't be greedy because at the end of the day, you should be paid the same as anyone else in that role.
Okay, what I really want to know is how to negotiate your salary. Can you walk me through step by step? What do I need to do?
Yeah, the first step is understanding your total compensation and the benefit package. That way you understand how those are going to look over the next few years. The second step is asking strategic questions to build leverage, but also to make sure that you understand the components in the job offer before you send over a counter. The third step is to go ahead and do your compensation research to make sure you know how much you should be negotiating for. If you think about how companies work, there should be a set pay range for every role. Your goal in this step is to do individual research to that company on what they pay for that position. That way, you know where your initial offer sits and how much more room there is for improvement. And the fourth step is actually sending a counteroffer back to the hiring team to ask for what you want. And the fifth step that most people miss is actually handling any no's or objections from the recruiter or hiring team. You're more than likely going to get a no at some point when you negotiate. The real goal there is to go ahead and flip the question and ask them to take it back. So for example, if they say, hey, we feel we gave you a great offer based off your experience, and we really can't make any adjustments since we're at the max compensation for our role, a great response would be something like, I agree that's a very generous offer. However, I'd really like it if you can at least take my concerns back to your team to see if they do have any flexibility. And there's a higher likelihood that they're going to accept that, take it back, and then come back with a better offer.
Presenting them a challenge. I like it.
Don't be afraid to negotiate. This is a very common process, and the only upside is hopefully making more before you start that role. But avoid sharing salary expectations before you get the job offer. That is way too early in the interview process to start throwing out numbers. It's way better to focus on interviewing for the role and letting them come back with the initial offer to see how much they can pay. And I honestly believe everyone should go through a salary negotiation before they accept any role.
Wow, I feel inspired. I need to go negotiate my salary now. Thank you so much, Brandon, for coming on our show and giving us such great advice.
Of course, it was honestly great to be here, and I hope that our tips and strategies to salary negotiation will help and that everyone will go advocate for themselves.
Negotiating how much you're paid is actually normal. I now see it as a form of self-love because you're simply asking for what you think you deserve, based on the research you've done to see what other people are making within a similar role. Valuing your time and skills and speaking up when things feel unfair is an important quality to have in your life, whether financially related or not. There are tips and examples of what language to use when asking for a salary raise, and always remember to be confident and respectful. So, how exactly do you negotiate your salary? Let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Pew Research. It's Pew, yeah?
I was looking
Pew.
at it before you read it.
Pew, pew.